Hey, it's Dr. Carlo. Welcome to the Weekend Wisdom. This week, we're going to tackle the top 10 reasons why your case acceptance sucks. And quite honestly, some of this is going to sound like common sense. And quite honestly, I think it is. But if common sense were common practice, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So let's go through this. The top 10 reasons why your case acceptance sucks. And this applies to, literally, any professional practice, but particularly to my colleagues in dentistry. So let's get into it. The first reason why your case acceptance sucks is you have poor or no online reviews. So online reviews now are basically like the standard, right? Nobody buys anything, even offline things, without looking at reviews first. Like even if you're going to buy a car is not an online purchase. A car is a car, right? You go to a car lot and buy the car, but you're still going to look at the reviews. You're still going to look at the ratings. You're still going to look at what other people say about it. So having no online reviews or poor reviews is a huge issue because it means that it causes to affect case acceptance. Well, even if a person comes to your office, if there's a larger treatment plan being presented, they've got that in the back of their mind. Like most people won't even come to you if you have this. But if they do, say it's an emergency and you're the one that can see them, whatever you say is now going to be colored by this. So do whatever you can to ramp that up. It isn't that hard. Get your staff to ask patients. Use one of the services that helps you boost your reviews. If you're in one of our programs, we have a system for that, specifically to get you more online reviews. So make sure you're doing something to actively engage your patients to give you some great feedback. And by the way, if you're not giving them a great experience, well, they're not going to give you a good review. So you got to make sure that patient experience is number one. The second thing is you haven't done or you don't do frequently enough what I would call a 5 senses audit. 5 senses audit means just go through your practice like you were a new patient, like fresh eyes, like I've never been here before. What do I see? What's on brand? What's off brand? Where is there chips in the paint? What does the office smell like? What does it look like? What is it, what tastes do I have? What the products do you use? Like literally go through the 5 senses. Like if I'm a patient, and every touch point in the office, like when they first walk in, when they go to the operatory, if they go to the bathroom, like literally everything they can see, everything they can hear, everything they can smell, like what is everything, how does it appeal to the 5 senses of the patient? And if the experience isn't across the board, wow, then fix it. I remember when we opened the, my practice that I tripled in 3 years that I talk about, when we opened that practice, one of the first things I said was, I don't want this to smell like a dental office. I don't want this to smell, look, see, like, literally nothing like a dental office. So we made sure it was designed in such a way that the patient's experience was very well choreographed. This is a Disney concept, right? So how difficult was it? Well, not very. We had someone making cookies, 3 times a day. So the office always smelled like fresh cookies. We had air fresheners everywhere that also smelled like cookies. We did all kinds of things, to make sure the patient experience was awesome. What were they looking at? Well, if they're sitting up in the chairs looking at a screen, what's on that screen? If they're lying back in the chair, what are they looking at? Well, I don't want them looking at ceiling tile. I want them looking at a screen. So we put a TV in the ceiling. And, what are they listening to? They don't want to hear the drill, so it could be given wireless headphones. Like, think about every touch point, every place the patient is. What 5 senses experience do they have? Do you have areas of your office where the patient can hear conversations they shouldn't? Should we have a door? Should we have, we had a problem with like our lunchroom. The office, it was 7,000 square feet, but when you have 35 staff members having lunch in a space, it gets loud, right? People can hear things. So, I'd ask them, close the door, close the door, close the door. Well, we just put a closer on the door so you couldn't leave it open, right? It automatically shut itself. Solve the problem, right? Solve the sound problem. The operatory is closer to the lunchroom, can't hear what's going on in there. Now, usually they're just people laughing and having fun, but I don't want any conversation the patient shouldn't hear off script, right? So the third thing is that you have too many barriers or hoops to jump through. So I'm just going to write down barriers. Too many barriers for the patient to jump through to become a patient, to accept treatments, at any point. So you don't accept my insurance, you're only open on these hours, you only see patients on these days, the more difficult you make it, the more obviously the lower your case acceptance is going to be. So look at all the barriers. Like, if I want to become a new patient, can I just pick up the phone and come to your office? Or can I just show up? Like, how difficult is it? Do I have to wait 2 weeks and then fill out all these forms and like go through this process to become a patient? Or can I just show up? And if I want to schedule treatment, well, how difficult is to schedule treatment? Can I just, do I have to come in for like a separate financial consultation and then a separate treatment presentation and then an appointment? Or can I just roll in and do it all at once? How systemized are you to just do it all at once? The lower the barriers, the less friction, the faster everything moves. Trust me, when you have a patient who's interested in getting something done, the last thing you want to do is throw a barrier up, right? The treatment in front of you needs to get done ASAP, like now. And if you can do it now, even better. So think about how many barriers there are at different touch points. What about if I want to become a patient? What about if I want to schedule a patient you've just talked to me about? How difficult is it to get that done? How quickly could I get it done? Think of the different personality types, right? Think of like DISC personality types. If I'm a high D, I want it like now, like yesterday. How quickly can I get that done? So think through all those things. The fourth thing is, how do I want to word this? I don't want to say incompetent, but let's say disagreeable. Disagreeable staff, or even the doctor. Anyone who's disagreeable on staff, meaning basically they're not the nicest person the patient could run into today. If you have that issue in your office, that needs to be fixed immediately. If it's a doctor, yikes. If it's an associate doctor or something, that's a problem. If you're the doctor and you're the owner and you're getting grumpy, you got to do something about that, because that is definitely going to eat your case acceptance. If the patient runs into one person that doesn't make them feel like they're in the best place for their dental care, they will not get the work done. It will absolutely ding your case acceptance by a significant amount, because the person is now going to say, well, what if I have a problem? What if something doesn't go right? Does this person know what they're doing? I'm not sure if I trust them, right? So you don't hire anybody that has this sort of demeanor. If you have one of these long-standing staff members that's just like everyone's afraid to tackle because, we don't want her head to explode, you got to get rid of that stuff, okay? Because the patients know it. The patients sense it immediately. It takes you seconds to make judgments about people, to make judgments about lots of things about people. Never mind just, do I like this person? But you judge them in the first 5 seconds on what you think their socioeconomic status is. Do you like the person? Would you ever be their friend? Like, these are things that people make snap judgments on. Well, if I'm going to present a case that's $10,000 and I don't really like the person I'm talking to, if I'm the patient and I'm hearing this and I don't like the person who's telling me this, I feel like there's something off-putting, well, you're done. That's game over. So everyone has to be the most friendly person that patient meets today, bar none. And you got to sort that out in your office if there's problems. Fifth issue is not having enough financial options. Not everyone's going to pay you today out of pocket with a credit card. Not everyone has the money for it. But also, while people have insurance and that sort of thing, you're not treating insurance. You're treating the mouth, right? If you're following our diagnostic process and case acceptance process, you're going to be presenting treatment plans that significantly exceed the insurance plan. So if you can get this into payments, well, you'd be surprised how much more treatment you can do. Just look on the roads right now. Everyone has a brand new vehicle. And if you look at how they're selling vehicles the last 3 or 4 years, everything's on weekly payments, right? Everyone, everywhere I turn has a brand new vehicle. And if you look at the car lots, it's like $90 a week, right? So they're just making it easier and easier and easier. Now, it's not like a 10-year payment plan, right? So it's crazy, but people are doing it, right? When we introduced financial options, a few different financial options, the case acceptance went way up, because now a person says, well, I can't afford $4,000, but I can afford whatever, $50 a week kind of thing. And a third-party financing company can deal with that. If you want to finance in-house, there are ways to do that. Again, just got to be careful on how you do it. So if you're in our programs, we'll be talking about that with you anyway. So the sixth issue is overdiagnosing, overselling at the first visit. So I'm just going to write overdiagnosing. It's not that the patient doesn't need it, by the way, right? Like if you look at a mouth and the person needs they really just need a full mouth reconstruction, but they came to you because they want to get their teeth cleaned, you can't present that on day one. Like you're going to present what the person needs to get back to health on day one. Then you're going to get to the phase 2 down the road. Like you present, you plant the seed for the phase 2 stuff at the first visit, but you're not going to have every patient who walks in the door get a $50,000 treatment plan, because that's going to kill your case acceptance. It's like, if you don't do it all, I'm not doing anything, but the person really just thought they needed their teeth cleaned. So you have a huge gap to overcome. The person doesn't perceive they have a problem. So there has to be, you have to build in time to educate them in the process. So, overdiagnosing and over-treatment planning on the first visit really kills case acceptance. Okay, I've seen this with new grad associates that go take a course. I remember doing this. I took one of those, more than one of those continuums, which, many of you guys have taken. When you learn finally to see that, wow, there's a lot going on in the mouth, there's a lot of things that are interconnected, really everyone should be treated to this level. And now all of a sudden you go back to your practice and you're trying to make everyone fit through that mold. And what happens? You get a ton of no's, a ton of people, put out by it, people leaving, and it's just not a way to run practice if you want case acceptance, you want profitability. Yes, there are cases that you should treat that way, absolutely. But those are the people typically accepting those large treatment plans who have some rapport, trust built with you. When you've gotten there, that doesn't happen in one visit, that happens in a few visits, then you can present the bigger treatment plans. Mrs. Jones, we've been looking at this for a while, and I think it's time to have this conversation. What do you think? Then you can approach it, but definitely don't start there. So the seventh issue that I see is being too assertive or not assertive enough. Both ends of the spectrum are issues. I'm presenting a treatment plan and I diminish the value of the plan, right? You follow our process, the hygienist presents something, doctor comes in and says, oh yeah, I see that crown, that makes sense, we should probably do that, but it's not a huge deal, we could wait. You kill it right there because you're not assertive enough. Or you say, yeah, we should do that crown, but we should also do that, and that, and you need to get that done right now because otherwise all your teeth are going to fall out. That doesn't work either. So you can't be, a wimp about it. You have to actually tell the patient, yes, we need to do this, and do you want to do it, yes or no? But you also can't go in there like guns blazing and overpower the patient, make them feel like, whoa, you put them on the defense. So being too assertive is an issue, being not assertive enough is an issue. You got to call it in the middle. You got to work with the patient. You got to be in rapport with them, right? And we teach you how to do this in our programs. So the next issue, I can still go down here a bit more, is you don't clean your teeth on their first visit. Number one reason why a patient goes to a dental office, I need to get my teeth cleaned, right? That's what they know. I'm due for a cleaning, so I go get my teeth cleaned. I have, in the past, again, taking courses and such, gone off on one tangent to say, well, nobody should have their teeth cleaned on the first visit because everyone needs a comprehensive periodontal diagnosis and treatment planning, and then we book them all back for... No, you can't do that. People want their teeth cleaned on the first visit. So the protocol that we teach, very straightforward. If they have within this parameter of gingivitis, we will clean your teeth on the first visit, which means 90% of people get a cleaning on the first visit as expected. Even if they need multiple visits, we'll still do something on the first visit so the patient feels like I got value out of today. If all you do is diagnosis, they're going to be grumpy about paying you a couple $100, $300-$400, and not getting anything done. They need something done to their teeth to feel like they went to the dental office, right? Clean their teeth on the first visit. And the next one is the dentist is the first person that they see for diagnosis. You're wondering what the hell's wrong with that? The dentist is the one who's supposed to diagnose, right? Yes and no. The dentist will ultimately create the final diagnosis. The dentist is the one who could read the x-rays and tell the patient exactly what they do and do not need. However, who do you think has the most rapport and trust with the patient? It's not the dentist, it's the team. Because the patient perceives the team has no vested interest in whether or not they get the treatment done. If you present it all, the patient perceives doctor needs a new boat, doctor wants a new car, doctor's got to pay for the kid's education, so on. The way we teach this is the staff is going to be, your hygienist is going to be the one who sees a new patient, does the workup, does the whole process, photos and so on, and presents what the doctor is likely to recommend so that the doctor goes in and says, hey, yeah, I agree. That's what you should do. Changes the dynamic completely. So this does take training, does take team training, does take time to get them there, but it's not hard to do. You set your standard of practice and you train to that. And all of a sudden what happens is the patient they've got their guard down when the staff's talking about treatment. When you roll in and you say they need 20 grand worth of treatment, they're like, whoa, what else is going on here? Because there's that automatic assumption you benefit from it. They perceive the staff doesn't. So that's a big deal. Structuring your new patient choreography is huge, and we teach that at length because if done correctly, you can have a very nice new patient case value average versus the dentist doing it a lot of I'll think about it. Okay, that's not going to get you anywhere. And the last thing is giving them too many options, particularly with new patients. Well, you could do this, you could do this, you could do this, you could do this. What would you like? Too many options. I mean, I like to give them, it's like having a kid, like, what do you want to eat for dinner? This or this, right? If you tell them, well, what do you want to eat for dinner? Well, I want ice cream. I didn't know that was on the list, right? So you got to give them choices, but you give them you steer them in the direction you want to go. If you have 4 potential options, then narrow it down somehow. Let's say you have every option from cleaning my teeth and a couple of fillings all the way up to full mouth reconstruction with implants. You got to start somewhere, right? How do you whittle them down from one to another to get at least a range, right? So I have options from, the very basics, a couple $1,000 insurance covers it, up to the price of a car. Is anything out of range? Well, I can't spend a car money, but I can do middle of the road. Okay, well, great. So the options would be this or this. Here's how it works. So you're going to narrow them down. You can't just give them 4 or 5 options. And what are they going to do? I'll think about it, right? Once you got, I think about it, you're done. Case acceptance is shot. So you got to get them to yes during the visit. And if you give them too many options, that's going to kill it. So you can't give them too many options. Give them the direction. You want to feel out the range. Where is this person going? And then steer them there. Give them 2 options if you want to, or if you're going to do a formal presentation, and we teach you the good, better, best, but we do that strategically in a way where we know what they're going to select, right? We're aiming for the middle option all the time, knowing that a small percentage will always select the top option. So again, that's strategic, right? But that's we'll do that down the line with you. You want to at least avoid giving them 4 options to replace a missing tooth. Find out if they want something that clips in and comes out or moves around when they eat. No? Okay, great. Get rid of all that stuff. We're down to these 2 options. And then they can choose, right? Very, very straightforward. And then you could even steer in the direction of what you want to do, knowing the case scenario in front of you. It's very easy to steer them in the direction you want them to go. And we teach you all of those verbal skills and such in our programs, but just know that if you give them too many options, you're going to blow it. So again, top 10 reasons why your case acceptance sucks. Hopefully you're not making many of these mistakes. Again, I know that some of this sounds like common sense, but common sense is not common practice. So review this. Check all 10 of these. Make sure that if there's 1 or 2 of them where you're just under where you could be, go to work on that. Make that your next thing for the month. And we're going to crush this. We're going to get more positive online reviews, and we're going to do a 5 senses audit of the practice. If you just did those 2 things, that would be huge for your practice. So, here's 10 things to work on. I'm sure at least 2 or 3 of these are definitely issues in your practice because they are in every practice, right? No one's perfect in all these areas all the time. So put this on the agenda for a team meeting, go through it with your team, and get to work. All right? See you guys next week.